Next on the news, puddings, pastries, and Pope Francis, a coffee shop turned canvas in the heart of New York City.
It's one street artist's unlikely collaboration, but here he says faith and the environment are coming together like cake and icing. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's ahead.
Then Omicron outbreak, record infections in New York City, and major supply issues. 2 years in, and New Yorkers are waiting longer than ever to get tested. Does the city have a plan? And all it takes is one pill. Enough fentanyl seized this year to kill every man, woman, and child in America. And that's not even counting the fentanyl that got through. Plus, California lawmakers anointing the state an abortion sanctuary. New York right behind it if Roe v. Wade is overturned.
As Catholics, this is our moment. We were literally created for this moment.
I'm Christine Persichetti. The news starts right now. Turn a street corner in Rome and you might not be surprised to see a painting of Pope Francis. But what about a mural in Manhattan? It's not graffiti on the side of a cafe in Soho, but a painting of the Holy Father. A local street artist is making the coffee shop his canvas. Jessica Easthope has more on this story you'll only see on Currents News.
Okay. God is everywhere, and if you're inside Little Cupcake Bake Shop,
oh look, the Pope.
So is Pope Francis. The Holy Father's presence is felt inside the Prince Street Corner Bakery, but it's also outside.
I usually paint in oil and I use the acrylics here.
This mural was painted by Delfinotto, an artist and environmentalist who's merging his two passions to shed light on the importance of organic food and making it accessible for all. Even in a city where 2.5 million people are food insecure.
The Pope talks a lot about food and farmers. We can feed the hungry and we can also help preserve the climate in the process with the right food choices.
Every morning, Delfinotto drags out this community fridge. It's stocked with fresh organic food. He's raising money to keep it that way by selling prints of his artwork and hoping customers at the bakery donate.
We like to donate $1 for our community fridge.
To connect faith and bring in food and then involve a corner shop where there's all this activity.
In 10 days since the project started, more than $1,000 has been raised to keep the fridge full. Delfinotto says people have been willing to open their hearts and their minds.
We're in the heart of consumers' culture, but the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive.
Spreading the wealth when it comes to access to organic food is the goal. And while Delfinotto is focused on the community around him, he's thinking bigger, channeling his muse, Pope Francis, and his 2015 encyclical, Laudato Si.
The way the Pope connects the dots between science and faith, it's been the missing piece in the whole climate environmental saga.
The Prince Street Community Fridge is just getting started, but like keeping the earth healthy, it's going to take everyone to make it work. In Manhattan, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Now to the Omicron outbreak in New York City. Epic lines in every borough and big supply issues when it comes to testing. More than 10,000 testing positive today alone, and that's only the people who waited on these lines, some 7 hours long. City leaders now scrambling to get back to where they were last year, restaffing testing sites and getting supplies. Many thinking New York didn't learn much in the past 2 years, but Mayor Bill de Blasio disagrees.
If this a sudden surge caught us by surprise in terms of sheer ferocity, then that's on us to quickly rebound, make the adjustments, get the personnel where they need to be.
The mayor plans on adding 23 more testing sites by the end of this week. The city is also planning to send out officials to establish quality control at testing sites that aren't run by the city. Across the country, it's whiplash for many Americans. The virus is upending everything once more, from politics and sports to entertainment and education. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker say they have it. The NFL rescheduled 3 games because of a rise in new cases. 7 NHL teams have been forced to shut down, and at least 9 Broadway shows temporarily shut down. And several universities are moving activities and exams from in-person to online. Speaking about a return to remote, New York City's public advocate Jumanee Williams says schools should have gone remote last week, and he's calling on the mayor to do so immediately. Even though city schools are reporting record numbers of COVID cases, de Blasio has resisted a return to lockdowns so far. However, individual shutdowns have occurred in isolated parts of the city. 3 schools were closed Thursday by the Department of Education. The Diocese of Brooklyn is offering New York City's only remote learning option this year. Currents News got an inside look, and Jessica Easthope reports the students are not only learning, they're thriving, and seats are open.
5-year-old Michael Martinez loves to explore, get his hands dirty, and use his imagination. His dad, Anthony, says his school embraces his individuality and celebrates his achievements. That part may not surprise you, but the part that may, Michael's never met his teacher or his classmates in person.
He's getting this one-on-one that he wouldn't get in class, and that is paramount to anything else.
Nice work, my friend.
Michael attends St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Online Academy, a completely virtual K-8 school for kids all over the country. We were able to sit in on a class and see what it's all about.
Good citizens are responsible.
During the pandemic, the Diocese of Brooklyn launched the program for students who were mandated to stay home. But when the administration realized families needed this option far beyond then, it was made a permanent school.
Students are really immersing themselves in the content of their classes. We've been blessed with a really good faculty. So it really spells a good start.
In the first year of the distance learning program, there were 2,400 students enrolled. This year, in-person learning is back, and there are still around 160 students.
Beautiful.
But social studies teacher Jennifer Centeno says now everyone in her class is there because they want to be, not because they need to be.
Each child has their own individual learning needs, and we've been able to accommodate. They are able to flourish better.
And Michael seems to like it too.
I have fun in school. I love it so much.
For the Martinez family and so many others, this is long term.
He didn't know how to read at all, and at the end of the year he was reading books. Why change the recipe?
St. Thomas Aquinas is here for good, and enrollment is growing every day. Families, along with students, are learning to adapt and build a different kind of connection. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Online Academy is still accepting new students. Families looking for remote learning can register at stacoa.org and find more information about tuition and financial aid. How long has it been since your last confession? Many Catholics dread those words, but right now you can change that. Priests are literally waiting for you tonight. It's called Reconciliation Monday, and the initiative is taking place all day and into Monday night. Priests across New York City are standing by waiting to hear your confession. The push from Bishop Robert Brennan and Cardinal Timothy Dolan is meant to make the sacrament more accessible. Bishop Brennan says that now is a perfect time to go.
People like to make use of the sacrament of reconciliation during Advent and Lent. And as we get close to Christmas and as we get close to Easter, those are important days. They're great opportunities as we celebrate these big moments in our church's life for us to take stock and renew our friendship with Christ, ask God's forgiveness, and take on the changes that we need to take.
And it's not too late to take part in the sacrament. Churches are still open for about another half hour for confession. Just go to dioceseofbrooklyn.org/parishes/locator to find a parish near you. Turning now to the Philippines. At least 375 people have died after a powerful storm struck the island country last week, and nearly 2 million need all the help they can get. Rescue teams describing Super Typhoon Ray's aftermath as complete carnage. It tore houses to pieces, downed power lines, and flooded entire villages. Pope Francis is keeping the country in his prayers. On average, about 20 storms strike the Philippines each year. This one came late in the season, with most cyclones developing between July and October. There's a lot more news headed your way. The Golden State could become the abortion state, why California wants to be an abortion sanctuary, and what Catholic leaders are doing about it. Plus, after 36 years behind bars, a cop killer is back on the streets, and he's not the only one.
There are now some big changes to the tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
California wants to become a sanctuary state for people getting an abortion, with more than 24 states poised to ban the procedure if the Supreme Court gives them the okay next year. California lawmakers say their state will be a so-called safe haven. Pro-life leaders say yes, that is for everyone but the baby in the womb.
California is a place of refuge, not only for 40 million Californians, but also for women and girls all across this country, and will remain so proudly.
California Governor Gavin Newsom making it clear California plans on making the state an abortion sanctuary if Roe v. Wade is overturned by the Supreme Court. A California council made up of more than 40 abortion providers and advocacy groups, together with the state's top lawmakers, releasing a list of recommendations that would make it easier for women to access abortion services, whether they are in-state residents or not. The recommendations include increases in abortion funding, reimbursements for abortion and abortion-related services, stronger legal protections for patients and providers, and easier access to accurate information. The plan could even pay for travel, hotels, and abortions for women traveling in from other states.
Roe v. Wade has got to go!
And California isn't alone.
Governor Hochul in New York said New York will be a safe harbor for women seeking abortions if abortion is restricted or limited in other states.
Katheleen Gallagher, the director of pro-life activities for New York's Catholic Conference, says the controversial proposal has pro-life activists concerned on both coasts.
So if states like Mississippi or Texas or other states decide to restrict abortions, California and New York are saying, come on in, we'll take care of you. In fact, there's been proposals by the New York State Attorney General to force taxpayers to fund the abortions of women from other states, to pay for their airfare, their hotel accommodations, and the procedure itself.
Governor Hochul letting abortion seekers know Lady Liberty is here to welcome you with open arms. Future decisions in New York and California hinge on the fate of Roe v. Wade and a Mississippi abortion law that bans abortions after 15 weeks. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments this fall and is expected to rule on its constitutionality next year. Regardless of the outcome, Katheleen Gallagher thinks another approach is needed.
My question to Governor Newsom and Governor Hochul is, what are you doing to help women faced with unplanned pregnancies who don't want to get an abortion, who just want support and assistance to help them, to empower them to bear their children and raise their families with dignity?
The executive director of the California Catholic Conference shares those concerns. Katheleen Domingo joins us now. And Kathleen, we just heard from the New York Catholic Conference. How do you explain what's going on in California? I mean, even the word choice, sanctuary, to describe abortions, it's off-putting to say the least.
Absolutely. So Governor Newsom established the California Future of Abortion Council in California, which is really just terrifying when we think that that is where we're headed as a state. That's the future of our state. And they released a report just this week where they called for 45 different recommendations for ways to increase access to abortion in California. California has plenty of abortion access. That's not what we need. And they're calling on things like overturning conscience protections for individual practitioners and even possibly Catholic hospitals, bringing women in from out of state and paying for their travel, their accommodations, and their abortions from state funds. That's where we are here in California. Governor Newsom has actually said he's interested in looking at these recommendations as he plans our new budget. So we're in a position here in California where we really have a fight on our hands.
Can you pinpoint any bills or ideas that got California to this point? You know, what did we miss?
So California legalized abortion even before Roe versus Wade. We've had abortion in our state for a long time, and we have incredibly liberal abortion policies. We have non-doctors that can perform abortions in California. We even passed a law where all of our state colleges and universities provide free abortion drugs to students on campus. we have missed the ball so many times in our ability to really help legislators understand that's not what women need in California. We have women living on our streets, 5,000 women a year living on the streets of Los Angeles who become pregnant, no housing, no beds available for these women. We have women in our prisons who are not allowed to see their babies if they have a baby in prison. And we have a lot of opportunities to do wonderful things to support women and children and families in our state. And that's really what we're hoping to do now, to undo some of the damage that's been caused by this abortion-only policy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, while there's still hope that the High Court will come back with a pro-life decision, a lot of Catholics across the country still feel helpless and hopeless. As we just reported, it's not only California looking to make getting abortions easier for women, but so is New York, and other states could follow. So what can we as Catholics do? You know, we always hear, call your politician, write to your politician, but that doesn't seem to work when it comes to pro-life issues.
Unfortunately, here in California, I'm not sure if calling our politicians would be a really effective next step for us. Instead, I think it's really an opportunity for us to recognize as Catholics, this is our moment. We were literally created for this moment. Since the very foundation of the church, who have we reached out to? Women and children, right? Widows and orphans. Most women choose abortion because they feel alone, they feel isolated, and they don't have support. We can be that support for them. And I think this is really a time for the Catholic community to step up.
Well, thanks for the work that you do. Katheleen Domingo, California Catholic Conference Executive Director, and thanks for being here with us today.
Happy to see you. Thanks, Christine.
Meanwhile, Google, headquartered in California, is being accused of pulling pro-life ads from the web. Live Action, a group that seeks to defend life, paid nearly $100,000 in ads just to have them yanked down. That caught the attention of several members of Congress, and they hand-delivered a letter to Google's CEO demanding the company reverse its decision. Google hasn't responded. In the meantime, the site does allow ads to order the abortion pill by mail. And then in New Jersey, you don't even need a doctor to perform the procedure. The state is now allowing nurses, physician assistants, and midwives to provide first trimester abortions. The new policy also permits abortions past the 14th week of pregnancy to take place in an office setting rather than a hospital. After spending 36 years behind bars, the man who killed the city's first female police officer in the line of duty has been released on parole. Back in 1984, Darrell Jeter was sentenced to 32.5 years to life in prison after shooting and killing Officer Irma Fran Lozada. Now the Police Benevolent Association is urging Governor Kathy Hochul and state legislators to address the state's parole system, saying Jeter was the 23rd cop killer released by the parole board within the past 2 years, and calling his release a blow to every cop who puts their life on the line to stop criminals. Now to a killer that could never be behind bars, fentanyl, a powerful synthetic pill that is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, and just one of those pills could lead to death. The biggest problem, fentanyl is designed to be nearly identical to legitimate prescriptions like OxyContin, Percocet, Adderall, Xanax, and other medicines. Right now, it's the leading cause of death in Americans ages 18 to 45, an overdose death taking place every 5 minutes.
DEA has seized an unprecedented amount of fentanyl, more than 15,000 pounds this year alone. The amount of fentanyl that the DEA and our law enforcement partners have seized this year is enough to kill every single American.
Officials warn that drug networks in Mexico are mass producing the deadly drug using chemicals sourced largely from China. Still to come on Currents News, it's a classic Christmas candy, and it's a sweet way some Catholic students in Queens are giving back this season. And a party fit for a pope. We'll show you who Pope Francis chose to celebrate his birthday with and what he got as a gift. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. We're calling it Candy Canes for a cause. Candygrams are being delivered to students and staff at the Mary Lewis Academy this week. It was an idea to spread some Christmas cheer while raising money for an important cause. a cause that hits home for me. The bell rings and they make a beeline to the cafeteria. The table is set. And the sugary treats attract a crowd.
Would you like to buy
I like two candy canes, yes.
Okay. Members of the Mary Lewis Academy's Service Learning and Leadership Program selling candy grams during lunch.
We go really crazy for Christmas over here, and so it's super fun getting to do something in the Christmas spirit.
And in the spirit of giving, this junior had a pretty sweet idea: donate the money to find a cure for hydrocephalus.
We're raising money because my younger cousin Logan has hydrocephalus.
Here's where it gets personal for me. Madison Persichetti is my niece, and she's talking about my 10-year-old son Logan, who was born with this condition, where fluid builds up in the brain, putting pressure on it. For the past 10 years, our family has taken part in the Long Island Walk to End Hydrocephalus. So Madison wanted to get her TMLA family involved too, to raise money and spread awareness.
A lot of my friends have no idea what it is, and I explain to them, and then they're like, oh, I didn't even know that. And once they realize like how serious it could be, they always want to help out, which is why it's been such a great thing here. So a lot of people are getting involved to help.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
It's just one of the projects the students in this program are sinking their teeth into.
At the heart of it is volunteer work and learning about the issues that exist in our world and trying to figure out a positive change that these students can make in our world and our community.
Like when they planted grass at Rockaway Beach to help revive the ecosystem there, or when they helped at the Our Children Food Pantry in Astoria.
I think everyone knows that there's need in the community, but you don't really know how much or what it looks like until you get involved.
According to the Hydrocephalus Association, 1 in every 500 babies is born with this condition in the U.S. Others can develop it later. And every 15 minutes, someone has brain surgery because of it. The students are hoping to raise about $500 for the walk. And finally tonight, ever wonder how a pope celebrates his birthday? Well, Francis's 85th birthday party was a bash, and on the exclusive invite list, migrant children from the Vatican's pediatric hospital. It was a birthday celebration complete with food and song. The children even going out of their way to give the Holy Father a birthday cake. Although some of the guests just couldn't wait to dig in, sticking their little fingers in before Francis even got a chance to cut the cake. Doesn't that happen every time you have a birthday cake with kids? And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.